So let's talk now about the heart and the opening of that heart center. Because for me, it's really how I live my life, or attempt to live my life. And it's very important for you to understand about the heart center and really what it's about and why it's so important to have an open heart. First of all, when you look at a heart, it creates a feeling within you, an emotion. You feel love, or there's something within you. Oh, I look at this heart. What does that say to you? So the heart is that space of love. And that space can be filled with love. For instance, you can think of something you feel really good about, what you love, like the innocence of a little toddler or a child smiling, or a puppy dog licking your face. Things that you love that make you feel good. And that's really what that space is about. It's love. It's that beautiful energy. It's a freedom, if you will. It's an innocence, if you will. And it's really important, I feel, to live with an open heart, because when we live with an open heart, or as they say, heart forward, or live in the heart, not the head, we begin to really understand who we are and where we come from. And we understand how to make the right choice for us in a loving way. Now, to be in that heart space, and an open heart space, it's really being aware of not being in judgment, because judgment is fear-based. And when you're in that heart space, there's an opening, there's an awareness, there's really an acceptance, if you will, of accepting situations and people for where they're at, the level that they're at. There are many people that come into your life that we could say, are limited or don't understand our mindset. And that's fine. That's fine for where they're at. We have to love them for where they're at. We shouldn't judge people, because that's fear-based. And who are we to judge their experiences? They've had their life experiences. They've gone through things. Why do we judge that? We have to put ourselves in their shoes. So opening up that heart center, that loving space, really affords us the opportunity for growth, not only for ourselves, but really for other people. By opening up that center, that heart center, that vibration, that energy of love, it really sends forth into the ethers around us that loving space, that loving vibration. And really, it's amazing when you have that space of love surrounding you and in your life, because people notice it on another level. And many times when you sit, or you're in this space of love, awareness of love, and you're walking down the street, people will smile at you for no reason, or animals will bow to you, really, or people just say nice things to you. Because remember, it's a frequency, it's an awareness. But it's important that we get into that space of love, because there's so much going on in our world that really kind of gets into our head. So many people live in their head instead of their heart. And really, I find the secret of living a successful and beautiful and incredible life is coming from the head space to the heart space. Remember that the head is judgment, is criticisms, as analytical. And you are heart first. You're a heart soul. And it's so interesting when we start thinking about things. Many times we close down our feelings because we're thinking. But I think it's very important to live heart forward, heart open, because really it will bring you more love. What you give out, you get back. And I do believe that we're all magnets. And if you have that frequency, that energy of love that you're sending forth, not even consciously sending forth, just being in that space of love and gratitude, compassion for being in this life, and this attitude of love, that you're not trying to tell people about how to live, or going up in a soapbox and preaching it. You just have to be in that space, just being aware of that space. And the more you do that, and you're in that space, life flows much easier. And as I've said, because we're magnets, we will draw to us people in our lives on that same frequency. So interesting that I find that on a regular basis, when I sit in meditation or use mantras or just put myself in that space and I talk about the love of self, I am is the same frequency or vibration of love. Love is the fastest vibrational frequency there is. In other words, I am is at the same frequency. So when I acknowledge through practice, through awareness, I am love. I am love. And to me, love is God. God and love. I am. Same vibration. And the more we have that awareness, we draw to us those beings, those situations in life on that same frequency. And you'll find that the more you're in that space and that constant, that those who are not in that vibration they'll be sloughed out of your life. They'll go away because they cannot deal with that high frequency of vibration of love. It's not that they're bad people or bad situations. It's just that they're not in that same frequency. Again, no judgment, not better or worse. It's just a frequency. They're not there. And you will attract to those that are on that same frequency. So in order to have what you want and love in life, you are that. You have to be that with that open heart and guide to you those situations, those people, those scenarios, those experiences in your life that of that same frequency. And that's why it's important to have a regular practice, a daily practice, living with an open heart forward. Live with your heart forward. Light, I often will say, live with your light forward. You really also, as you live with that open heart, there's a strong sense of belonging, of connection, because remember that God, the soul, is that light, which is really, I believe, centered right in the heart space. And that is when we tune into that and live with that and start going deeper and deeper and understanding in depth what it feels like to have an open heart and use our heart, we feel that connection of oneness. We feel a connection of the oneness, O-N-E, omnipresent, nurturing energy. And that's God's love to me. And every single person is connected. The two biggest illusions in life are death, and we think that we're going to die, but there is no death. You can't feel energy. And the other is separation. We feel we're separate from another person, from people who speak a different language, have a different skin color. We're not. We are connected. We're all one energy. And we don't realize that, but we are all connected, and everybody is the same. There might be people in different positions, different countries, different economical levels, different positions in life, but we're all the same. And it's what you do with that position. And that's really, really important. So there's a feeling of a oneness, the connection that you're part of everything and everyone. And when you have that relationship, you really do feel a sense of truly living the fullness of life. It's really, really true. And the more one becomes aware of an open heart and going with the heart, not the head, but into the heart, your soul self, your soul's language of intuition, which means into the soul, becomes expressed and alive. And your intuition, that sense of knowingness, really becomes much stronger. And you feel and sense that knowingness with people, with situations. You'll know when it's times have come that maybe certain people aren't ready, to be in your life anymore, or that you've finished with a certain situation and it needs to go by, or you need to make a different choice in your work life, whatever it might be, or even relationships and marriages and jobs. They all change when you have that sense of knowingness, because it is your guidance system, your soul's voice, that knowingness. And remember, it'll always take care of you. But our responsibility as having this human condition, being in this human condition, is really interesting. It's trying to remember who you truly are. And the only way we can do that is by taking the time to tune into that heart space and using and living with that open heart space and using that vibration and energy. It's really, really important. And I need to express that because of the world we're living in at this moment. Everything is so fast. Technology is really speeding up. Social media is taking over. And that's not great because a lot of people vent in a negative way. And you don't want that. You don't want to be around that. So if you use social media as I do, you want to spread love. You want to have that language of your heart be seen. So use more of that in social media to neutralize, if you will. And I believe that life is a series of choices. And for your own self, you can go back to your beginning of your life. Let's say when you were a young, like 8 years old and up higher, maybe 10, 11, 12, and the choices you had to make. So the first choices, maybe a high school you had to go to, or then go to a college, and maybe what you decided to date someone, or what courses you're going to take, or what career you're going to get into, whatever it might be, or going to live a certain way, or do a certain thing. That was a choice. And choices are based upon two things, either love or fear. And most people seem to become programmed as they're young kids. you have to remember that when you're first born into this human world, this human school, you come from the spirit realms. You come from that sense of awareness, expansion, knowingness. You are free. You're open. Ask a small child. They'll tell you truth because they haven't been programmed. They haven't been dirtied yet. The mind is not dirtied. They're pure. And you can also ask a small child where have they been before, what other lifetime, and they'll tell you their other life experiences because they're wide open. And probably around the age of 6, 7, 8, they begin to get programmed by the adults. In that, perhaps parents say, you have to do this in order to get that. There's a conditioning or programming that happens. And then we go to school and we have teachers who tell us, you have to do this, this, and this to get an A, and really to get accepted. And as children, we look up to the adults as the experts, that they tell us the right thing to do. So we know we have to do this in order to get an A. Or we might interpret that we need to do this thing or behave this way in order to get love, their love. And we look to the adults for love, not realizing, of course, that they're probably programmed and they have certain things going on, or they don't know how to raise children. We don't know that. We look up to them. So many, many people become, I call, programmed from the age of 8, 9, and they go into this rut of people pleasing, trying to please people because they want love. And they'll do things, they'll make choices out of fear because, oh, my mom and dad want me to be successful and I want their love, so I'll go and become a lawyer, even though I'm really not interested in that. I'd rather go into the arts. But this is just an example, and they will really hurt themselves, if you will, because they're not being true to themselves. They're trying to please other people. And a lot of us become people pleasers, and we live our lives that way. And I have found that probably in the 30s, late 30s, early 40s, people get a sense, if you will, or their souls coming out and telling them, this is not your genuine self. You're not living your truth, your true self. And then people have to take a journey wondering, why isn't my life working? And they try to escape because they're not living their true life. So they might go into drugs or alcohol or codependent relationships or things that don't work for them because they just want to escape because they're not living their true authentic selves. See? Really, it becomes a pattern. It becomes a pattern that way over and over again until one becomes liberated and emancipated by living their true selves. So remember, what other people think of you is none of your business. No one can love you more than you can love yourself because nobody knows you but then you know yourself. You are that loving being, and you should do what you feel within your heart, your soul, who you are. That's how you should express yourself. I believe that. So the more in tune you are with your heart self of who you truly are, the more your life will be a joyful one. And joy is part of the journey. It really is part of the journey. And we have to be more courageous, if you will, and honor who we are, honor our soul self, because that's who we are. We're not what people want us to be. We're who we are. I remember when I was 14 years old, I entered a preparatory seminary, Catholic seminary, because my mother was very Catholic and she wanted me to go and to become a priest. And me being 14, I thought, okay, I'll do that because on some level, I guess I wanted her acceptance or I wanted her love. And then after a year there, I thought, this isn't for me. And I sat in the little chapel there, and I remember I heard one of the first mediumship experiences. I heard a voice say to me, you have to find God outside these four walls. God is not in these four walls. God is within you and outside these four walls. Go on a discovery of God outside these four walls. That's who you are. You don't belong here. And that made sense to me. That sounded right. That's who I was. And I listened to that. I listened to that heart voice and I moved forward. And here I am today. So I just want to share that with you to, as you do this practice, to assess that part of yourself, your soul self, your heart self, and living with an open heart. You don't want to go through life being cynical. You don't want to go through life being angry. You don't want to go through life blaming your parents or other people or partners or so forth. And remember, don't take on other people's stuff. It's their stuff. Don't make it your stuff. Don't make their problems, their emotional upheavals or blackmail. That's their stuff. not your stuff. So the more we do this practice and open up our hearts, the more we know ourselves and what resonates as truth with us. That's really, really important. And if we go through life and we choose fear, it closes us down. It diminishes our love, our light. It closes us down and we become less than we are. You don't want that. Look around the world today and see how many people live in fear. How many people are afraid? I mean, seriously, the media, social media, the world, the wars that are going on in the world, it's all based on fear. It's all based on having to be something and look at them and validate who they are. That's not the way it should be. So I hope this helps you to make those the right choices of love instead of fear, and understanding your soul self with an open heart. Live with an open heart. It feels really, really good. So for your own self, when you're making a choice in your life, you can choose love or fear. As I said before, love is ONE, omnipresent nurturing energy. Fear is FEAR, false ego appearing real. So when we use fear, we're in the head space. We're not in the heart space. So how do we know when we're using love or using fear in a choice that we're making? Well, if we're choosing out of love, there seems to be an essence within us of a feeling, a subtle feeling, as you'll know now with this practice, the daily practice we're doing, that there's a subtle feeling of truth. This feels right to me. This resonates as who I am. This feels solid. This feels balanced. There'll be a certain little excitement, a little fluttering, if you will, that, oh, this feels right. This feels exciting. That's how you know love. There's also a sense of, wow, this is so exciting. It reminds me when I make a choice out of love, a feeling I get is like a little kid jumping up and down. That's what I get, excitement. You know, I love to play with my doggie, who's a puppy. Come on, you can't be more than that. But that feeling that I get, that funness, that openness, is that feeling of love. I also will say to many of my friends, and they know it, and some of you might know it, that I never grow up. I love being that little child because I think that child is always open to new experiences and learning, discovering. And I love the innocence. And I love that. And I think that's what love is, part of that joyfulness. That's in everything. So that's if you choose out of love. If you choose out of fear, there's a sense of, number one, worry, anxiety. What are people going to think? Am I doing the right thing? So there's a judgment there. Fear is judgment-based, right? And that's what's going to happen. You'll feel within you a closing down, a diminishing. And there's a sense of, I'm not really sure. Because, again, false ego appearing real. It's your ego you're trying to settle with. And if it's not right, you'll know within you it's not right. And because it isn't right. If it's not right for you, your intuition will tell you, the knowingness will tell you exactly what's right for you. So the more you're into that heart space and the truth, you'll know the right choice to make. So fear diminishes, fear closes down. Fear also blocks. Now, if you make your choices in life out of fear, it's going to affect every aspect of your life because everything starts closing down all around you. It's as if you're blocking things. Things are going to be dammed up in life. And with that fear energy, resonating that fear out there, things have a harder time coming to you in life, but because they can't flow easily. Because with love, things flow through. That's life. Things are flowing. But fear blocks. Fear separates. And that's not your natural state of being. And remember, there is only love. You are love. Fear is a learned human emotion. It's not who you are. It's learned. Very true. You are love. So use that energy and your life will be very successful and happy and joyful. Life is very short. Don't you want to have fun and have a loving life? I know I do.